AM 1600 KIVA, ABQ.FM, rockoftalk.com, Rock of Talk TV, and AM 1490 KRSN Santa Fe, 107.1 Los Alamos. Glad to be here with you for another edition of Tego and Tracy Venturi, the Venturi Real Estate Group from Keller Williams Realty. All you have to do is pick up the phone and dial the best real estate experts. 505-448-8888. That's 505-448-8888. Or welcomehomeabq.com. That's welcomehomeabq.com. They're the best. They look great, and they'll make your home look great because it's all about merchandising. We're coming out of this 1 year, literally to the day. Happy COVID anniversary to these young two COVID lovebirds here. Tego and Tracy will brighten up by find their forever home forever because we've been living, we've been working, we've been doing everything, and now, look, they can deliver stuff to your home. It's kind of crazy, the things that are happening. Tego and Tracy, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Eddie.
Good morning.
Great to be here. And yes, things, you think back a year and how we were and what we were thinking about and how we were doing things and now where we are. It's very, very different for sure. And definitely in our world and just, everybody's world, of course.
And you've adapted. And as you, of course, know, Tego and Tracy, they're true entrepreneurs. And the nature of entrepreneurship is adapting to the conditions that are out there, taking risks. And it's a day-by-day experience. And they care very much about their business, the market, and what's happening. Tego, as always, if you didn't know, he's focused on the stats. Tracy, tremendous advisor on a number of different fronts. If you're rolling out a new home, if you need to buy a new home in a buyer's acquisition or merchandising and selling your home, she is the expert as far as that. They've got a tremendous team located in the heart of the North Valley, right there off of Alameda, which is the corner of Main and Main. And they love to talk about real estate, been doing it for more than 7 years here in the Kiva, and we appreciate all of that. In this week's edition, five major home buying mistakes. Inventory still low, right, Tego? Demand still high. The homeowners associations. Ooh, the pros and the cons. We have a bunch of new listings and open houses, of course, this weekend for Tego and Tracy. Featured community, Volterra. We'll talk about that. And National Home Equity Report. Equity has got to be at an all-time high. So let's talk about that as well. Tego, Tracy, take it away.
Thanks, Eddie. And that's really the headline on that equity report, Tracy. I mean, we can kind of leave it there. I mean, obviously I can go into the details, but the thing is the equity, homeowner equity is at an all-time high. And in the last year for New Mexico, for Albuquerque, New Mexico, the average homeowner gained $21,000 in equity in the past year in New Mexico. So
there's some serious wealth building there.
There definitely is. And so we don't have to dwell on that. Tracy, you wanted to talk about Volterra this week as a featured community. And I'm wondering, where do you want to start here? We've got so much to cover.
So much, as usual.
Yes.
Let's start with Volterra.
Okay.
So for those of you who don't know Volterra, which a lot of people don't, Tego, even a lot of people in the real estate community, Volterra is probably a 15-year-old community or less.
Yeah.
It's right next to Kirtland Air Force Base, sort of between the Air Force Base and Four Hills. So it's at the very south end of Juan Tabo.
Yep.
South of I-40. If you just dead end on Juan Tabo, you'll end up in the Volterra neighborhood. And Volterra was a major structural problem because there's a huge arroyo where the land sits, and it was basically inaccessible for many years. And a big bridge went in over the arroyo and made all of that land available for development. And a lot of different builders built homes in there. There's D.R. Horton, Rachel Matthews, Twilight, Pulte, LGI, a variety of builders.
Yes.
Stillbrook, probably. Anyway, it's at the very south end of Juan Tabo, next to Kirtland Air Force Base, and they are still building new homes there. So it is an opportunity. If you're looking for new construction, give us a call. We can help you source out what's available there from the different builders. What's interesting, so, a lot of people are moving here and they want to be close to the national labs, all of the affiliates to the Air Force Base, that Sandia National Labs and all the different businesses, because there are a lot of jobs right there. and they want to be close. So Volterra has been a great option. And we see quite a bit of movement there from people coming and going for the Air Force Base. What I know is there's some people who love it because there's a bike trail where you can kind of get, without having to go back out to Central, you can take a bike trail if you work on base that you can get there to the gates.
I did not know that. That's cool.
Yeah. I haven't ever seen it, but I've had clients who specifically told me that's how they get to work. So I know you still have to get to a main gate, but they probably go through an arroyo or something to get over that way.
Well, Tejeras Arroyo is the big arroyo that comes down, between Four Hills and this community and like the interstate, right?
Right.
Or Central, you will. And that's a huge arroyo. So there's a bunch of open space over there as well for people to go and explore and walk and do what they want to do. Yeah.
I'm not sure what's allowed there, Tego, versus what people do there, but I do see some off-road tracks.
You're going to couch that so I don't say something and gets us in trouble.
Yeah.
So, well, the guys on the radio said we could go ride motorcycles down there. It's like, no, we're not saying that.
Yeah, it's not necessarily allowed, but I have seen people with their dogs off leash running, and it's great, which gets them more exercise probably.
Of course.
Anyway, so Volterra.
Yep.
So right now there are 23 houses for sale in Volterra as we speak.
Mm-hmm.
Not all new construction. Some are new construction. Some are resale homes. And they actually call us this minute if you're looking for a $205,000 house in Volterra, because one came on the market today and it'll probably sell for well over $205,000. It looks great. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage, a well done backyard. It's got a separate area fenced off for like a pet run. It's got a large covered patio that was obviously added after it was built. But it's a small house. It's just over 1,100 square feet, but it's a great size.
Well, it's interesting you say that $200,000 price point. I was having a conversation with some people from the association today, and we were just talking about one of the big challenges in our real estate market. And there's a lot of different challenges right now, but one of them is the price point affordability, not necessarily overall affordability, but just from a price point standpoint.
Right.
And I looked, as of today, there are 36 homes for sale in the greater just Albuquerque area, $200,000 and below, that are available. And honestly, half of those are not so hot, in not great condition. And so it's interesting that $200,000 price point is becoming really a endangered species in our market.
It's sort of that purple unicorn.
Yeah.
So once we go above that 205, the next price is 260, and there's a couple of them, and those are actually attached townhomes, not single family. The 205 is a single family home, and it's priced that way because it's 1,100 square feet, 1,135. However, I'm sure it'll sell for more. If you're interested, give us a call right away, 448-8888, and we can get you in to see it. They will be allowing showings this weekend, and I'm sure it'll be off the market on Monday. The other thing that's interesting, Tego, is of those 23 homes, the high price is $540,000. So it's a pretty big spread in Volterra.
That is.
And what we know is originally there was some estate type lots that are bigger, custom builders picked up, like Rachel Matthews did a lot of them, and they had that great floor plan in there. They don't have any right now that I'm aware of, but it was floor plan where they had like a separate casita sort of incorporated into that floor plan. So really nice variety of what you can get in Volterra. Right now there are 55 homes in pending sale in Volterra. So there's 23 on the market, 55 in pending sale. The average days on market of those houses was 26 days on market. So we know some of the higher priced homes might have taken a little bit longer. Also, what's kind of skewing days on market in there is that some of them are new construction that aren't really done yet. They put them on. They're not really finished. People like to wait and be able to walk through a house. So it's skewing it from what our market really is.
They'll put it in the MLS as, available, and the days on market starts counting, except the home really isn't finished yet. So it's
Yeah.
actually a conversation we've had at the MLS on how to deal with that. So, overall in our market, days on market right now is, I think it was 21 days for February. So it's right in there where what we're seeing in day. We know, Tracy, homes are selling very fast in our market right now.
A lot of them are. So the average sale price in the last of the houses that are in pending sale is $332,600. Of the 188 houses that sold in there in the last year, the average was 312,000.
Got it.
So
Okay. Well, it's interesting. So that was, if you're just joining us, we were talking about the Volterra community, which is south on Juan Tabo, past Tijeras Arroyo, and you're there. And it does back up to the Four Hills community, which a lot of people are familiar with.
Four Hills community is on the east side of it.
Yeah.
And Kirtland Air Force Base on the west. So if you're interested in knowing more about Volterra, give us a ring. We'd be happy to show you homes there.
Great. It's one of the few places on the
east side
that you can buy new construction. There's, it's getting much more limited east of Central for sure.
There are a few other areas.
I'm sorry, I said Central. I meant east of the freeway or really the train tracks. Yeah.
Yeah. There really are a few other neighborhoods that we could highlight that are new construction in the Northeast, technically, as in this is actually Southeast Albuquerque.
True.
But there are a few others, and we'd be happy to share those with you.
Tracy, I want to talk to buyers right now, and I think this is an important conversation to have because the market is so tight. There's so few choices for home buyers today that they need to not make any mistakes if they want to get that home. And we have a list of 5 things you should not do or mistakes that buyers we've seen make that they need to just be aware of so they can get that dream home, get the home they always wanted. Interest rates are great. You got to lock that interest rate in now and get that home for the long term. And in this one, it's going to sound very self-serving because we're real estate agents, but it says,
don't hire an inexperienced agent.
Yeah.
So the average agent, across the industry sells 5-10 houses a year.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it's not a lot.
To really hone the craft, I think you have to be in it day in, day out, work with people who are making lots of offers and getting a lot of homes under contract, and really knowing what it takes today to write an offer that can be accepted, knowing other agents, knowing that they want to work with you. And when it's somebody who's inexperienced, doesn't really know the ins and outs of how to really structure something so that you can be the one whose offer gets accepted, it's hard.
Yeah, the experience does matter. And again, it sounds very self-serving, but you do need somebody that is your advocate on your side to get you that home, you that home that you want. The next thing is the home inspection. In this market, people may be tempted to say, you know what, I just want the house. I'm going to waive the home inspection so my offer gets picked over any other offer that seller has. And that would be desirable to a seller, right? Seller says, oh, well, they're not going to get a home inspection. Great. We don't have to worry about, doing any repairs for this person. I would never, ever recommend that somebody waive the option to do home inspections.
So even in our market, our purchase agreement says you can do any inspections you want. You don't have to list them if you're paying for them as a buyer.
Correct.
You only have to list inspections if you want the seller to pay for them. So really there's a way to structure it and make sure that you still have the opportunity. And sometimes we've seen sellers who've done an inspection already. They say, here's the inspection report. And the buyer might say, well, I don't need any more. I'll just accept that one. And even then, you don't have to do that. It'd be better just to
You need to think twice about that. You need a home inspector that's working for you as a buyer, right? Somebody that you've contracted to do the home inspection. Not that their job is to go and pick the home apart and find all these awful things so that you can, negotiate down the price or something. The idea is that you know what you're getting into when you're purchasing this home.
Right. I was going to say for resale homes, we're not talking new construction. For resale homes, have the opportunity to assess, the condition of the home and make sure you're comfortable with it. Not that you get to change it all or require that the seller do things, right? It's more for you to understand it. Houses are basically used, right? It's not like you can expect it to be a new house. But knowing as a buyer what the conditions are and what major things you might have to budget for in the future is really helpful.
Yeah. The next two things here, when we're talking about, buyer mistakes and mistakes we've seen, and the next two kind of go together, Tracy, and we've seen it. We've definitely seen this one.
We've seen people not get their dream house.
Yeah. So they've gone, they've talked to their lender, they've got a pre-approval from a lender to do their mortgage, they've done their credit application. The lender starts working through the whole process to get them approved for the loan, and they go and they change jobs midway.
And it can happen that you can still buy a house by changing jobs. But if you change career fields altogether, there's some sort of waiting period there to make sure that your new career field is a winner for you. And oftentimes what we've seen, Tego, is we're already under contract to buy a house, and the home buyer changes jobs after we've already gotten a house under contract. And that's challenging. That's when you need the best lenders in town working for you to figure out how to still make it so you can buy that house.
If you do anything once, especially once you've received your pre-approval, if you do anything around, changing your job,
income,
changing your marital status, we've seen that one, huh, Tracy? Any of that stuff is going to affect the ability for the loan to get approved. So it's just something to keep in mind. And then the next one along with that.
Right, making some credit purchases. So opening maybe a new line of credit. So what happens sometimes is people will get a house under contract, we're working towards the closing, and they go to, I'm like, who's still open? Best Buy?
Yeah.
And they open a credit card with Best Buy to buy the new washer, dryer, fridge,
they go
appliances.
They go to the furniture store, they go to American Furniture, and they open a whole line of credit to get all the furniture for their new house. And all of a sudden,
that hits their credit.
It hits their credit,
can change their ability to buy a house. We've seen people buy new vehicles.
Vehicles been the biggest one we've seen,
right,
for sure.
Getting a loan for a new vehicle, which all of a sudden changes their monthly available income to put towards a house. And we've seen people not be able to close on the house because they bought a vehicle.
Debt to income ratios get out of whack because now they have to calculate that new payment that wasn't there before. And so, once again, when you're applying for a mortgage, you want to walk very lightly. How's that?
You want to listen to your lender and really understand what you should or shouldn't do. And if you want to do something that seems like it might impact your financial status, talk to the lender first.
Well, and another one, let me actually just throw in it. It's just a side note, is you get a gift from grandma and it's $10,000 and it hits your bank account. That's going to be a red flag. They're going to say, okay, you need to document where that money came from. So again, anything that affects your finances or your financial, you just want to be very cautious and talk to your lender as you're going through the process.
Right. The last one, and there's others, but this is an interesting one, and it's don't necessarily choose the cheapest homeowner's insurance for your new house. And really, this is one that I think is hard because you really need to understand homeowners insurance and feel like you've got great confidence in the provider, that they're going to look at it and not strip out things to make it a more affordable home insurance policy that are going to be very difficult should you need have a claim, and you find out, well, you don't have coverage for that.
Yeah, it's a pretty important thing to have a good conversation with a trusted, insurance person. Obviously their job is to sell insurance, and they're going to, they have all these different products and riders and additional things that you can add onto a homeowner's policy. You just want to make sure that you're covered when, again, if something bad happened, you have coverage, you understand what you're getting and what you're not getting. And I think along with that, we're talking about homeowners insurance or, fire insurance or hazard insurance, whatever you want to call it, not home warranty, which is a different animal. That has to do with, if something breaks in the house. And again, that's another thing that you should seriously look at. It's a relatively inexpensive peace of mind especially maybe if you are going to waive some of those repairs on the home, or the age of the hot water heater, or the age of the furnace, or one of those things. So,
Right.
Yeah.
So Tego, lots
Yes.
of open
Oh
houses
my gosh,
this
we got a lot of
weekend.
homes coming. Thank goodness, because we
Lot
need them
of-
on the market, and there's a lot of buyers out there waiting for lots of these homes.
We have quite a few houses that are about to hit the market.
Yep.
Call us if you know what you're looking for, or you want to talk about your home search, 448-8888, and we'd be happy to chat about that. We have a great team of realtors that work with us that are out in the field and know the market really well. So open houses, we have so many. I'm not sure we're going to list them all right here. Just call us if you're wondering if a house is open. We also have on our website.
Let me say it this way. Rio Rancho in Cabazon, Paradise West, which is kind of Ventana Ranch area. We've got Northwest Heights, 87102 zip code, which is
Coors, north of I-40.
Yeah, exactly, Ladera area. We've got Rio Rancho Heights, or Corrales Heights, I guess is what it's called, it's Rio Rancho, but it's just above Corrales. We have 2 in the North Valley, one in the North Valley, and one in the near North Valley, if you will.
So let's talk about a couple of these.
Sure.
So let's talk about
And all of those, and let me just say, those are all
newly
first time,
listed.
new on the market as of today. As you're hearing this right now, they're just on the market, and open houses this weekend as well.
So 604 Ortega Road. So that's 6th and Ortega. And Ortega is very close to Paseo del Norte. Is a house and a guest house on an acre for $599. It will be open on Saturday from 2 to 4 with Shayna and Tyler holding that open. Really newer construction considering North Valley. So nice tin roof, the pro panel pitched roof, very northern New Mexico style. With the house and the guest house, it's just about 4,000 square feet altogether. The guest house is fabulous. It's really gorgeous. You know, when I looked at the pictures of it, I'm like, that's kind of a freestanding. It's almost like 2 homes on 1 acre.
One trend we've been talking about now for a few years, Tracy, is this whole multi-generational, housing situation where you've got, the parents and the younger family members all kind of sharing the same property, but yet have their own space. And this would be an ideal situation for that.
Right. So 604 Ortega, it's active, so you can Google it and see what you think of that house. It'll be open, and we can get you information on that if you need more. Call us at the 448-8888. The other one is Palenque in Rio Rancho, 2109. I'm not sure how you say it, but Palenque.
Looks good to me.
Artistic home, 3-car garage, large home open this weekend on Saturday and Sunday. Just call us for times or get on our website at welcomehomeabq.com. This one is $320,000. It's a 4 or 5 bedroom, I believe. So
in the Cabazon community.
It's in the northwest part of Cabazon.
Okay.
No HOA in that area. Artistic, was known for building very energy efficient homes.
Yeah.
So that one, 4 bedrooms, and it's 2,700 square feet.
Yep.
3-car garage for $320. Another one we know is going to be busy. 1307 Sarah Way. So Sarah Way is that bluffside neighborhood that's right between Corrales and Rio Rancho, kind of right east of Intel.
Well,
on that bluff.
A lot of people know where Sarah is in Rio Rancho, and so if you were to go,
Sarah,
up just past Intel and take a right and go kind of down
East.
like you're heading. Well, you're taking a right. Okay, if you went, okay, east. I guess it depends which way you're coming from. Okay, so east on Sarah.
To Trinity Estates.
Yeah, it's just right there.
And, a lot of those homes have just phenomenal views back to the mountains. And this one has them from the front. So there's a dining room and a living area that have really great views. The backyard's nice. It's all done. It's very private. Another one, so that one's $335, and it's open this weekend, also Saturday 1 to 3. It's really clean, contemporary, lots of big windows.
Nice house, and it's low maintenance type
Yeah.
setup. Yep.
Another one going to be hot property on El Fego in the North Valley. It's just west of Rio Grande between Griegos and Candelaria, just over 4/10 of an acre, 0.42. It's a small home and a small extra building. We can't really call it a guest house. It's an extra building with some opportunity. But this is going to be open 1 to 3 and
On Sunday.
on Sunday, 325,000 for this one. I believe it even backs to an irrigation ditch, which is pretty special. So, partial adobe. I think it was originally an old adobe that somebody has worked on and done some things with. So, there's others, lots of houses.
So you can see all of these on our website at welcomehomeabq.com. Right on the homepage, it says, featured listings. Click that, and you can see all of those. And Tracy, we went through on our team meeting Friday morning, we went through all of the homes that we have in the pipeline with our team, and we do have more. And so if you're out there looking for something, you're not finding it, reach out to us. It's Venturi Realty Group at Keller Williams Realty, 448-8888. Tracy, one last thing. There was this conversation that came up about homeowners association. And you've had those clients that say, there's no way, I never want to be in a neighborhood with an HOA. And then we also have people that say, oh, I want a neighborhood with an HOA because they'll keep the neighborhood nice. And so I wanted to go through the pros and cons, at least some of the pros and cons of being in a neighborhood with a homeowners association.
Sure.
And what jumps out at you about that, Tracy?
Well, showing a lot of houses around the city over the years, you can usually tell when you're in a HOA, when you're in a neighborhood where there's a homeowners associations. A lot of the newer developments have homeowners associations. Yep. They have rules about parking cars and trash cans and what you can and can't do with your property.
Yep.
So a lot of people don't like those rules. And then there's you go, well, there's some benefit. Look around. You don't have abandoned cars. You don't have weeds in people's front yards next to you. We feel like sometimes the homeowners association rules keep your home value higher.
I don't have any data to back this up. I could figure it out and look at it, but I would say that neighborhoods with homeowners association have better price appreciation and hold their values better than ones that don't. And the thing with HOAs is they have a governing body, and for the most part, they keep the neighborhood looking good. There's some sort of organization that's
in charge,
and there's going to be rules that have to be followed. And so the flip side of that is you have people that are very frustrated because they want to park their car out in front of their house and they're not allowed to.
It depends. Every neighborhood has different rules, right? So one of the things that comes to mind, Tego, is when people are parking the cars on their front lawn, right? They have 3 teenage children, each with a car, and they're pulling in the driveway and they're pulling off to the right and they're parked on the road, what would be a front yard.
Yep.
And, that's the type of thing when I'm showing a house and I'm looking at the one next door with some buyers, they're going to notice that and go, this is maybe not what I want. And sometimes people say, I never want to live in a HOA neighborhood. And once we start looking at houses, they change their mind and they say, I want to live in an HOA. Going back to one of the things you just said, I think some parts of our town are very different, like the valley. Not having an HOA in the valley is probably not going to harm your price appreciation, right?
Yeah.
Or North Albuquerque Acres, right? We're talking about neighborhoods like we were just talking about the Cabazon house that's going to be open this week in Southern Rio Rancho. And Cabazon has an HOA for most neighborhoods within it, but this one corner, the northwest corner of Cabazon, does not have an HOA.
Got it.
And it was part of the main development, but there's no HOA. There is a public improvement district, but that's completely different.
And just to wrap this conversation, Tracy, I think the thing is I think people need to not just do blanket, I don't want an HOA, or do blanket, I must have an HOA. Look at the pros and cons, and each HOA has different rules, has different CC&Rs, covenants, conditions, and restrictions on, what can happen there. the way it's governed, the way the financing is handled, all of that stuff matters, and that is a contingency in the purchase agreement.
Right. All of that needs to be disclosed so you can look at what the HOA is all about and make sure you're comfortable with it. So.
Good
And
stuff.
HOAs around the country, typically people think of, maybe it includes a country club or a swimming pool or a gated area, but, those vary too. So
Yeah, they all vary. So
that it is. There's 30 minutes just
man,
like
just
that
like
again.
that, Eddie. Woom.
Snap, ready to go. Hopefully, I've
Yeah.
got a little speed going here, unlike the last time. But Tego and Tracy, as always, we appreciate you very much for being here in the Kiva each and every week on AM 1600 KIVA, ABQ.FM, and now serving Los Alamos.